Hello, everybody. I am live on Instagram and on YouTube. We are recording for this week's behind the scenes session with tips, tricks, and lessons learned with the real truth about growing a business. So, giving you inside looks on behind the scenes for growing your business. Um, welcome to this week's episode. We're going to be talking about performing a time audit and why you should be doing it. Now, when I talk about time audits with my clients, it is usually not something fun that they want to think about or do. They kind of do it grudgingly. And I actually have a tool that I recently came across thanks to my mentor. With a way to automatically track my time in the background because it is really important to perform a time audit, especially for my service-based business owners, especially because that can affect your pricing, and you could actually discover that your pricing is too low at the end of your time audit. So the importance of the time audit is to also provide you insight and data into what you're doing with your time, because I hear this a lot from a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, especially in my mastermind group or in other groups that I'm in. Um, is I feel like I'm wasting my time, or I feel like I'm not being productive, or I feel this, or there's a lot of I feel statements. And honestly, those I do the same thing. I'm like, I feel, so I need to check my gut. So this is a way for you to check your gut feeling, especially if you're not using a project management tool that you can go back to and assess and say, these are the things I got done for the week, or these are the things that I didn't get done for a week. So where do I need to readjust my time? I went live in my mentors, Rebecca and Danielle's free group today about organizing yourself. And a lot of this applies with the reason you want to do a time audit is because everyone is looking on how to organize their schedule, how to plan out their schedule, how to break it down. So by doing the time audit, you get a realistic insight into how to plan your week. If you know what you're doing, you can figure out how to change it or how to tweak it to better utilize your time or be more realistic with your time. Um, so with performing the time audit, I have done in the past time tracking with ClickUp and my Chrome extension, or utilizing a time tracking app like ClockFi or Harvest, are a few good ones that my clients have used. Um, but one thing that I do love with this app that I found, and this is not sponsored or anything, I just really like this app and it works in the background of my desktop. So it is hard to track. Um, you still have to manually kind of track with your phone if you're doing any work on your phone, because I do my power hours on my phone. Um, so the way I perform time audits now is a little bit different. So with this app, it's called Time Bro. You download it in onto your desktop. I paid for a quarter to start because I did the free trial and I really, really liked how accurate it was. And I will probably, as a service provider, bump up to the mid-level package because I can integrate it to my project management tool to make things more accurate and more consistent, especially as I'm looking at pricing for my packages and time spent. That would be what I would recommend using that feature for. Um, but if you just want to run a simple time audit, the basic plan would work. I would say do it for a quarter. When I tell my clients to perform a time audit, I like to say at a minimum, you need 2 weeks of data to get a good, accurate insight. But if you could do it for a month, that would be better before you make any tweaks or changes to your schedule, or to how you're planning your schedule. So with that, with Time Bro, what it does is it'll track your work on your computer. It shows you which apps you're in, how long, if you're in specific Slack channels. Um, and so if you do things on, this is where I kind of partner it with my Google Calendar. So I time block everything, and I do spend time at the end or beginning of each day utilizing my Google Calendar and making sure my time blocks were accurate. So if I do any offline work, because Timebro will track if I'm offline. Um, if I do any offline work, like on my phone, like right now, I'm going live on my phone. I make sure I block that time off in my Google Calendar, and just being super honest with yourself, because you don't want to put shame around how you're spending your time. It's about collecting the data to make informed decisions on what's the best way to structure your schedule, how to be accurate in pricing, how to be accurate and realistic with what your capacity actually is, because that's something I see a lot with my clients is they're like, I'm not getting enough done. I feel like I'm constantly behind. Well, sometimes they're not accurately forecasting their time or being realistic with the time that they have. And then that's causing their work to suffer, or they are, you know, struggling to keep up, or they're making promises that they can't actually fulfill when it comes to client work. So that's another reason why you should be doing a time audit, so that you can be realistic with your capacity, can be realistic with your planning, um, and so that you can accurately price your packages, if you are doing them time based or loosely doing being it on time based, because I've had scope of works that I roughly based on time. And then when I went back and looked at the time audit, I definitely miscalculated the estimate so that I could better price it going forward. So that's those are a few tips on like how to do it, why you should be doing it. And it is tedious but beneficial to go through that data so that you can better plan your week, you can better organize your schedule, and you can be realistic with what you can accomplish. Or it'll give you insight into, okay, I have more than I can handle on my to-do list. I need to adjust my prices so that I can afford to hire someone, or I need to hire someone so I can free up more time. To do sales. Like, so an example of that would be, I know I'm scrunched for time with 2 kids and helping my husband build his business and now being pregnant. So I'm going to be hiring a tech VA and a project manager type of role. And that's going to help me free up time so that I can be more into the content creation, more into serving my high end clients. And they're going to help me build out my membership in the background. And I'm really excited for that, because then I have someone to do a lot of the tech pieces my clients need, so that I'm not constantly being the bottleneck in my business. So that if I'm sick or the kids are sick, I can delegate effectively to my team members so that they're still getting stuff done. So sometimes, instead of feeling like crap that you're not getting stuff done, and that you're not getting stuff done and that you feel like you're behind schedule, look at that as a sign of, hey, I need to hire somebody. I can't keep doing this on my own. There was a comment in the live I was doing earlier about how to know when you're being stubborn or when you need to make an adjustment. That's a good sign of being you need to make an adjustment on that you need to hire, because you don't have any more time to give. It's the one resource that's pretty limited. And it's not going to change. You're not going to change how much time you have to give. And if anything, it's just going to become less with more responsibilities that you have. So that is another reason you should be performing the time audit. And you can have your team perform the time audit as well, so that it again goes back to the pricing for your time, um, pricing of your packages, and then also to see, um, especially with how flexible people are and can be with hiring options, you might perform the time audit and realize that you need a full-time person versus a fractional or a part-time, and that or you're giving someone too much on your team. So it really does help with not just your capacity, but your team's capacity. This Time Bro is a great tool to use for this. I can drop a link in the YouTube description and in the comments in the Instagram video here for it. It's not an affiliate link. I don't have an affiliate link for them. I just really like the tool because it makes it a lot easier to perform this time audit. And I think it's really good information to have, especially as you are, um, it'll, it's good data to have for a metric of like, what are you spending your time on? And if That mixed with the tracking of your tasks in a project management tool should give you insight into um, a realistic view of what your capacity is. And then also to get yourself out of your own head on, I'm not doing enough or I don't work hard enough. Because I constantly feel like that. And when I looked back at my time audit with Time Bro in the past month, I was working way more than I thought I was. And sometimes it wasn't productive work. So you can also get insight into, are you working productively or are you doing filler work to make yourself feel better? And then when I use my ClickUp report, I can see, I got X amount of things cleared off, or, maybe I worked on some stuff and it got pushed back because of feedback with the client or the timeline change, but I still made progress on that project or that task. So having the time tracking app or the time tracking audit in the background, plus working with a project management tool is going to allow you to one, show up in your business confidently and successfully and give your client a great client experience as well. Um, so that's why you should be doing a time audit, how you can easily do a time audit, and the ways that you can use that data inside your business. So if you're watching the replay, feel free to drop a comment and or ask questions. I'm happy to respond and answer any questions, or feel free to DM me.